extremely lefty place anyway. But give the alt-right their devices, I'm pretty sure they would start to deplatform people as well, which totally goes against the whole morals of free speech. Everybody has a bit of inner dictator in them, and when we see shit we don't like, we're just like, oh man, we just secretly think in their head, I just hope this person just gets hit in a bus because they're saying shit we don't like. I'm just being honest here. So yeah. So we all have a bit of our inner dictator. Obviously, I'm not going to blame big tech for using their power as an advantage, because I'm pretty sure other people would use it as an advantage. So I'm not going to say, oh, this is not fair, this is trampling over free speech, because they're just using a weapon you're giving them. And this is why alternate media is just going to go through the roof. Like Gabs, Minds, all that sort of stuff. They're still in the... I have Gabs, I have Minds. It's still in the very crappy development area, like the 2006 area. It's still there. It's still a bit crappy, so I'm just gonna have to ride this platform until it falls off. But by doing this, you're only gonna push popularity into alt tech. And the fact that when it came to Alex Jones's channel, the fact that they all banned it within a 12-hour period, either it was groupthink, or either they all got together one night and sat on a table and decided who they were going to take out, and Alex Jones, unfortunately, was the big, obvious, fat, white whale in the room. So he was the first to get thrown under the bus. So it just proves that all these that big tech, although despite they claim to be big competitors of each other, are actually all in bed with each other. New World Orderism. That's why I've tried to teach people this before, but they kept dubbing me as a crazy conspiracist. Now they're starting to see the truth, that they make each other look like competition, but they're all in bed with each other. It's all in control by the same people. And the internet is still a new invention. It's still going through this early phase of what video games and horror movies were during the 1980s. So the internet during this time is going to go through a lot of ethical debate of what should be there and what shouldn't be there. Is the internet bad for you? Is it good for you? There's going to be a lot of studies, just like what things were done with video games and horror movies back in the 1980s. So the internet is going to go into that direction too. So we're just going to have to wait it out and prove these people wrong. Now, people keep saying, oh, well, these big tech companies are private companies. They could do whatever the hell they like. Well, when something's a monopoly and they sort of have control of everything, it's going to be a bit hard to boycott it. It's a bit like boycotting Chinese products. It's going to be merely impossible. Or it's a bit like you live in a village and the only supermarket in that village is this big, huge super Tesco. And then this Tesco decides to kick you out for some reason. Where are you going to get your groceries from? There's no competition. So that's why corporatism in itself is a threat to the free market. So yeah, because then these big tech can then decide the rules and then can form their own government within this big company. And like I said, Apple, if it was independent, is even richer than the United States and would be the richest country on earth. Think about that for a minute. That's how much money they have, and obviously they're going to use their money as an advantage. And obviously these elites have a political agenda and are going to use their political agenda as an advantage. Okay, so let's talk about free speech. So, yeah, these companies, they do have every right to decide the direction of free speech, of what people can and can't say in them. They have every right, that's their legal right. However, a lot of people on the right now are saying we need an internet bill of rights, but aren't you not the pro-free market, pro-corporate pro-capitalist, pro-free market, pro-corporatist, anti-government regulation entity, and now you're the ones that are saying, oh, the government, there needs to be an internet bill of rights, there needs to be, we need to put more laws on the internet. That they're starting to say what the left is starting to say. And then you're saying, oh, the internet needs, we need to deplatform the Young Turks, TYT, and are you crazy? You know, it's more of a, you're starting to lose your free speech values here. So, oh, the enemy's doing it, so we have to do it. No, you have to show that you're better than the enemy. Now, when it comes to free speech, obviously, you can't just say what you want, right? I know a lot of people on the right use free speech as an excuse to be an asshole to minorities, to women, to gays, to whatever. For example, or they use it because they want to plan a war, you know, the whole neocon bush. Oh, they're after our free speech and my democracy, and if you don't support this war, you don't support my democracy, and anti-American, anti-patriot, and all that sort of stuff. So, and look how free America turned out to be after that. So, not very. So obviously, with free speech comes responsibility. I can't just walk up to some guy in a bar, some drunk guy in a bar, and just say, oh, hey, your mother's a fat whale. And if he sticks a pole stick up my ass, of course what I did was legal and what he did was illegal, but do you think people are going to be very sympathetic to my free speech then? However, when I talk about free speech, I'm not talking about it in the terms of just going up to strangers and shouting profanities at them, you know? I'm talking about the internet and posts on the internet that aren't even personal. Like, it's not defamation, it's not doxing, it's not cyberbullying. You're discussing ideologies that aren't personal. That's what I'm on about here, to discuss the topics of ideology and not to personally attack anyone on the internet, because that's defamation and it violates a lot of cyberbullying laws. It's a bit like releasing pictures of a girl's nudes without her permissions. So yeah, and then that's what I'm on about. I'm not on about, oh, freedom of speech just so I can be an asshole, because that's what people like the EDL do, you know. When you watch these EDL marches, you see them, you know, they're waving their England flags. Oh, Tommy Robbins, you know, they're going up to Muslims, you know, and they're shouting pedos, you know, they're calling them pedophiles, you know. And then when they do get attacked by a pack of Muslims, and then they act like victim, oh, my free speech, look what they're doing, they hate democracy, No, like, we're talking about the difference between digital freedom of speech and real life situations. If you're going around being an asshole in real life and you get punched for it, no one's going to be sympathetic to your free speech. That's just human behaviour, human psyche. That's what happens when you start going up to people with a charged battery and screaming profanities at them. They're going to hit you, okay? But like I said, I'm talking about freedom of speech in the terms of not screaming at people, not shouting at people, keeping it civil, and talking about ideology, not going after them personally, because I notice a lot of people on the internet, when they're on the internet and they start to lose the debate, they start like attacking your looks. Like they'll start going, oh, you have like really big ugly eyes, you know. When they start to lose the debate, they start to, in any Facebook comment section, they'll start, oh, if they start to lose the debate, they'll start going after your looks, you know, because they've run out of ideas, or they've run out of points. Or what they'll do is that they'll get their buddies to mass flag you, or they'll start getting all their friends, you know, they'll start to get all their friends together, and then they'll just all go out in a witch hunt, so and they'll start being immature, and they'll start being childish, and they'll start talking outside the realms of debate, and they'll just all start cyberbullying you. That's not freedom of speech, that's called witch hunting, it's called cyberbullying. So yeah, and obviously I made a video about doxing, about trying to try to take somebody's internet character out into the public so they get harassed in real life. So yeah, that's just the guidelines to my views on the guidelines to free speech, how it should be used, how it should be implemented, and all that sort of stuff, without it losing its value and without it, causing civil disobedience to strangers, and in regards to the platforms, it's just, like I said, everything's been centralised, everything's globalised, it's all Orwellian, it's all Big Brother here, that's what, and it's just going to cause people to be more suspicious. In regards to Alex Jones, it's just going to cause people to be more suspicious, and people, because when you make something look bad and edgy, you just make it look cool, and people are attracted to things that are cool. And obviously, if somebody's made thousands of videos like he is, his videos are in all corners of the internet, whether through third-party uploaders or in other accounts. You can't unperson somebody with that much of a legacy on the internet, because they're gonna be, their channel may be down, but their videos are still good. There's a saying, nothing ever gets deleted. Once something's up there, it's up there for good. Nothing ever gets deleted. So I don't see the point of it. It only proves the right that the left control big tech, and they have a political narrative, and they're trying to silence conservatives. And in return, alt tech is going to rise in popularity, and it just shows that, as crazy as Alex Jones is, he might be right, because if you're trying to censor somebody, obviously he must be dangerous and he must be right in some sort of way, because if you can already debunk him using your speech, do that then. But if you're just going to deplatform him, it just proves that you're losing. It does the opposite effect, and it's only going to backfire, and it's only going to do more harm than good. Doing this secret deplatforming, it may have worked back in 2012, back when conspiracy theorists were viewed as nuts, but now our narrative is winning. And you've done this right in the middle of the deep water of the culture war, so what's the point? Trump's already in. What's the point? We're already in this culture war. What's the point swinging the narrative? 50% of the Americans don't even trust mainstream media no more. So why now? Why now is the main question. This may have worked a few years ago, but we're too deep in the hot water now. We're too deep in the shit of this culture war. So what's the point? So, and obviously, I'm not defending the right, but like I said, Antifa are allowed up there. So yeah. But anyways, I know I've sort of I've not made a script. I've just sort of rambled over, and what a time to be talking about this when I have yet another 30-day ban on Facebook, my 5th time. I remember back in the good days it was only for 3 days, that was bearable, but a month's ban, that's too far. Obviously I've heard this new term, shadow banning. It's obviously when you think you're still active but you're still banned, and when you make a post you think it's going live but only you can see it. So I don't want to go back into my Facebook account only for it to be shadow banned. So yeah, that's just my whole view and my whole take on all of this. And big tech is going to be a hard enemy to fight, because they have your email, they have your address, they themselves can dox you. They've been known to use surveillance on you, so they've become even more powerful than the United States themselves. So hopefully the internet is just going through a dark phase. Hopefully it's just going through its teenage years, and then after that, like with the video games and the horror movies, the internet can become as free as a platform for both political speech and entertainment for as much as possible. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.